دكتور.
This is the last chapter we'll study in this dentistry course of ANAT 203, that is the urinary system. I hope I have covered all other lectures, previous lectures. Okay, so the urinary system is one of the different systems which we initially studied. So this is also a system that is mainly helpful for the removing of the waste products from the body. So it is helpful in the elimination of the waste products as well as any toxic substance which is present in the body, which is formed by the process of filtration of blood and return of the water and solutes back to the bloodstream. So it will help in the filtration of blood as well as uh, mm, carrying back the water which is removed. It will be returned back to the body as well as solutes. Everything will be taken out and only the waste products and toxic substance from the body are eliminated through the urine. Okay. So for this elimination, we need the kidneys. So there are two kidneys which are present on either side, which are the main structures in the urinary system. The two kidneys which help in the elimination of the waste products. Along with the kidney, the urine is thrown out of the body through two ureters, and then the storage for of the urine for some time, that is called as the urine bladder, and removed out from the body through the urethra. So the whole of the urinary system consists of two kidneys, two ureters, then the bladder, single bladder, and one urethra. So all this together, it is called as the urinary system. So the urinary system consists of two kidneys, two ureters, a bladder, and one urethra. So urine flows from each kidney. The urine, along with all the unwanted toxic substance as well as the waste products, are removed along with the urine from the kidney down to the ureters. From the kidney, it will be thrown out into the ureters, then to the bladder. So it will come to the bladder on either side, and it is stored in the bladder till it is removed out of the body, and finally outside the body via the urethra. So urethra is the main structure which will remove the urine from the bladder outside into the external world. So these are the kidneys on either side, then we have the ureters on either side, then the urinary bladder, and the lowermost will be the urethra, which is not shown in this place. So what are the functions of the kidney? As we saw that it helps in the elimination of the waste products. How exactly it will do? So we'll try to understand how the kidneys will function and what are the things it will do. One is it helps in the regulation of the blood volume. So it maintains the volume of the blood. How it will do that? By conserving or eliminating the water. So if there is excessive blood, then it will be removed out of the body as water. Okay. And if there is shortage of blood, decrease volume of the blood, then it retains the water in the body. So in that fashion, it will help in the regulation of the blood volume. Means it will maintain the volume of the blood in the body. How many liters of blood is there in the body? 5.5 liters of blood is in the body. So the kidneys will help in maintaining this volume of blood without any decrease or increase. So that is the function of the kidney. One is maintaining of the blood volume. Second is regulation of the blood pressure. Not only it maintains the blood volume, it also maintains the blood pressure. Okay. By secreting an enzyme called as renin, which helps in the regulation of the blood pressure. Okay. So one is the kidney will help in the function of the regulation of the blood volume, maintaining of the blood volume. Second is regulation of the blood pressure. Then it also helps in the release of erythropoietin, which helps in the erythropoiesis. Erythropoiesis means production of the RBCs. So it helps in the release of the erythropoietin, which helps in the formation or the production of the RBCs. Then it also the finally the most important function, that is excretion, means removing out of the waste products as well as any foreign substances as well as any toxic substance. Everything will be removed out. So these are some of the important functions of the kidney. One is regulation of the blood volume, maintaining the blood volume. Second is regulation of the maintenance of the blood pressure. Then the third is the release of erythropoietin, which helps in the production of the RBCs. And the fourth is excretion, means removal of the waste products as well as the foreign substances. These are some of the important functions of the kidney. So now you can see here, these are the kidneys, the right kidney and the left kidney, and these are the ureters on either side. Both are flowing into the urinary bladder, where it will be urine will be stored. Then it is removed out through the urethra. The external, now we'll try to understand the external features of this kidney, how they look like. Okay, what is the anatomy of the kidney? So kidney is bean shaped paired organ. It is in pair because it has both on the right and left side, so it is called as paired. So it is bean shaped, it looks like a bean. Okay, it
Excuse me,
lies just,
doctor.
yeah, please.
I can't enter the website. Can you? I can't submit my attendance.
Okay, no problem, I will see, check.
Okay, thank you.
Who it is for it?
Same.
The same. Okay,
Mm.
no problem. Inshallah, I will see. Okay. Uh, so, uh, uh, so it is what I was talking about. Yeah, it lies just above the waist, between the peritoneum and posterior abdominal wall. If you see here, it will be present on the posterior abdominal wall. There are two walls: anterior abdominal wall. Abdomen is having anterior wall and posterior wall. So these kidneys are present toward the posterior. If you see here, these are the two floating ribs, 11th and the 12th rib, which we were studying. So this is 11th and 12th rib. So if you see here, it is touching the 12th and the 11th rib. Okay. So it is attached to the posterior wall of the body. So it is in contact with the posterior abdominal wall, and on each side of the vertebral column. Each side of the, this is the vertebral column or the vertebra. So on either side is the kidney. Okay. And at about the level of the first lumbar vertebra, L1, it is protected by the 11th and the 12th rib. If you see here, as I said before, so it is protected from behind, from posterior, by the 11th and the 12th rib. Okay. But if you see here, the right knee is slightly lower compared to the left. 12th, the left kidney is higher because on the right side there is liver here, big organ, that is the liver. So it pushes the right kidney slightly down. So the right kidney is slightly down compared to the left kidney, and it is protected by the 11th and the 12th rib from behind. The right kidney is lower than the left, which I was telling. The right kidney is lower than the left due to the presence of the large right lobe of the liver. As you know, on the right side we have the liver, so it will push the right kidney lower, which presses the right kidney downward. Okay. Now coming to the supports of the kidney. What are the supports? What are the structures which will hold the kidney in its position? One is the adipose tissue, or it is also called as perinephric fat. If you are seeing the kidneys of the sheep, you might have tested. So at that time, you can see around that there is large quantity of fat. Okay, so this is the adipose tissue or the perinephric fat that protects the kidney from trauma and keep it in position. So the fat around the kidney is to protect the kidney as well as keep it in position. So it does two functions. One is protection. It gives the fat gives the cushioning effect to the kidney, and if there is any trauma, it will not hit the kidney. The second is it keeps in position. Then along with that, there is also something called as renal fascia that hold the kidney against the body wall. So it is covered by a fascia outside. It is not shown in the picture. So outside there will be a fascia which will hold the kidney in its position. So there is perinephric fat or adipose tissue, as well as outside we have the renal fascia, which are the supports of the kidney, which will keep the kidney in this position. Okay. Now coming to the internal anatomy of the kidney. So what do you see? We'll talk about that. The internal anatomy of the kidney will consist of the parenchyma of the kidney, which consists of the renal cortex and the renal medulla. If you see here now, the kidney, if you cut longitudinal section, you can see this is the renal cortex. This is called as the cortex, and this is called as the medulla. Renal means kidney. Okay. The kidney cortex and the medulla. Renal cortex and renal medulla. So there are two parts. Outside is called as cortex, inner part is called as medulla. Renal cortex and the renal medulla. Then drainage system fills the renal sinus. Cup-like structures, minor calyx collect the urine from the ducts of the renal papillae and empty into the major calyx. If you see here, there are pyramid-like structures here inside that. Inside the medulla, we have pyramids. These are called as the renal pyramid. Renal pyramid. The apex of this pyramid, this is called as the papilla. Papilla. So these papillae, if you see here, it is opening into something butter-like structure, butterfly-like structure. These are called as the minor calyx. Minor calyx. So this papilla, this is the papilla here, within which there is nephron inside. This is the structural and functional unit of the kidney. Okay, which there are millions of nephron here. So all this will open through the papillae. This is the papilla into the minor calyx. This butterfly. So here the urine is formed here in the nephron, and it is poured through the papillae into the minor calyx. So these many minor calyx open into the larger, that is called a major. Major means big, minor means small. Okay. So the cup-like structure, minor calyx, collect the urine from the ducts of the renal papillae and empty into the major calyx. As I said, so these papillae will open and they will collect the urine into the minor calyx, and many minor calyx, 1, 2, 3, all they open into the major calyx, and major calyx will open into the renal pelvis. Renal pelvis. So the major calyx empty into the renal pelvis, which empties into the ureter. So now this is the renal papillae. So this is the minor calyx. So many minor calyx join to form the major calyx. Major, two or more major calyx will open into the renal pelvis, and this renal pelvis will open into the ureter. So this is the flow. So from the pyramid papilla to the minor calyx to the major calyx to the renal pelvis and the ureter. And from ureter, the urine will go into the urine bladder, and from there into the urethra. So this is the whole process of urine formation and going into the. So the major calyx empty into the renal pelvis, which empties into the ureter. So this is the whole process of urine collection. Urine collection, ducts within the each renal papillae release urine into the minor calyx. If you see here, so these are the minor calyx from the kidney. So this is one kidney. So many pyramids will be present here, open into the minor calyx. Minor calyx will join to form the major calyx. From major calyx will join to form the renal pelvis, and from the renal pelvis into the ureter. So same thing has been shown here. Minor calyx, from there to the major calyx, from there to the renal pelvis to the ureter. So this is how the urine is collected from the kidney and flows through the ureter. Now coming to the nephron. So this is the nephron is the functional unit of the kidney, structural and functional unit of the kidney. If you see here, so if you see in this picture, here is the nephron. So this one nephron is shown here, but there will be millions of nephron in each kidney. Okay, so there will be many here. So for simplification, only one nephron is shown. Okay, so this is the structure of nephron. Okay, so this nephron in the kidney. So now we are talking about that nephron. So this is how it looks like. This is one nephron. Here is the nephron, structure of the nephron. So this is the functional unit of the kidney. Structural and functional unit of the kidney is nephron. This is the smallest structure. Each kidney has over 1 million nephrons. As I said, there will be minimum 1 million nephrons in composed of two parts, renal corpuscle and bundle. If you see here, so this is the tubule. So this is the renal corpuscle and this is called as the tubule. Okay, renal corpuscle. This is the corpuscle here. If you see here, this is the renal corpuscle and this is the long tube. Okay, so renal corpuscle and the tubule. So renal corpuscle consists of two parts again, glomerular capillaries and the Bowman's capsule. If you see here, these are the arteries, one artery opening into this and this is coming out. This is called as the renal corpuscle. And outside there is a capsule. This is called as the Bowman's capsule or glomerular capsule or Bowman's capsule. Outside we have capsule, inside we have the capillaries. These are called as the glomerular capillaries, where filtration occurs. So this is the point where the filtration will be occurring. Then Bowman's capsule is where the urine is collected. In this capsule, the Bowman's capsule is the cup shape that collects the filtrate, means the urine. Okay. Now this will flow. Once the urine is formed here in the nephron, now it will pass through this tubule. These are called as the renal tubule. It has many parts. One is called as the proximal convoluted. This is the proxima, PCT, proximal convoluted tubule. Then we have the loop of Henle. This thin part is called as the loop of Henle, nephron new loop or the loop of Henle. Then this part, again dilated part, this is called as the DCT, distal convoluted tubule. And finally, it collects into the collecting duct. So the urine will be flowing through this, and there will be exchange of the electrolytes as well as the water as it passes through this. So there will be exchange going on. Then finally the urine will be collected into the collecting duct. So now if you see here the closer look of this part, Bowman's capsule, this is how it looks like. So this is the capillaries. This is the afferent arteriole. This is the efferent arteriole. This is the capillary. And this is the capsule, Bowman's capsule, where the urine is collected. So urine is formed here and it is collected here and it is passing to the PCT, proximal convoluted tubule. The same thing which is shown here, or if you see here, it is very small. So here if you see, this one is the second one. So all these are the same structure. So this is the capillaries, glomerular capillaries, and this is the Bowman's capsule, structure of the renal corpuscle. So glomerular capillaries and the Bowman's capsule. Now the blood from the aorta passes to the kidney through the renal artery. After filtration, blood returns back to the inferior vena cava through the renal vein. So the blood supply is by the renal artery. So the blood supply to the kidney is by the renal artery, and this renal vein is the vein which will remove the renal blood from the kidney. So renal artery is the artery, renal vein is the vein of the kidney. Now coming to the ureter. So the urine from the kidney will pass through these are the ureters. Okay, these are the same ureters coming and opening into, starting from the kidney, and they come and open into the bladder. Now coming to the anatomy of this ureter. These are long muscular tubes, almost 25 centimeters long. So these are long tubes, as you can see in the previous picture. So here you can see these are the long tubes. These are the ureters on either side, starting from the kidney and come and open into the urine bladder. Okay, they are long tubes, almost 25 centimeters long. Okay, and they extend from the renal pelvis, as I showed, to the bladder. So they are opening into the urine bladder. Enter posterior wall of the urine bladder. If you see here in the bladder, it is coming, opening into the bladder through the posterior wall. Posterior wall. It has three constrictions at the pelvic-ureteric junction when it crosses the pelvic inlet and at the entrance of the bladder. Its blood supply is brought about by the renal gonadal and vesicular artery. You see this ureter, usually this is important because if there are any structures or if there are stones, ureter stones, so then we should know where exactly is the stone. So sometimes the normal constriction, these are the three normal constrictions. Constriction means narrowing. So you should be able to differentiate between normal constriction and the stone. So you should know how do you identify. So you should know the normal constriction. One narrowing is at the pelvic-uteric junction. This one here. Okay. The second is when it opens into the bladder, and the third is when it crosses the common iliac artery. It is not shown here. It's not. It will be crossing on either side. During that part, it will narrow. Okay. So these are the three parts where it will be narrow. One is pelvic junction, beginning from the pelvis of the kidney to the ureter. The second is crossing the pelvic inlet, and the third is when it is opening into the bladder. It is opening into the bladder from posterior. So when it narrows. So the blood supply of these ureter is by the renal artery, gonadal artery, as well as the vesicular artery. Okay. Now coming to the urinary bladder itself. Okay. If you take a section like this, okay, then this is how the urinary bladder will look like. The ureters are opening from behind, and here you can see the posterior wall of the urinary bladder, and you wall is cut. Okay, now if you see here, it is opening into the urethra here. So these are the ureters, and this is the urethra. So this urinary bladder is a hollow, distensible muscular organ with the capacity to hold the urine up to 500 to 700 ml. Sometimes up to 1 liter of the urine can be held by the urinary bladder. So the normal desire to maturate is from 500 to 700 when you feel to want to maturate. Okay, at this level. Now, if you see here, posteriorly, where the two ureters are opening and where the urethra is opening, these three, if you join together, this is called as trigone. Trigone is a smooth triangular flat area on its posterior wall. This is the smooth triangular flat area on the posterior wall, bordered by two ureters opening, two ureters from above, and one urethra opening below. So one urethra. If you join these two ureters and the urethra, this triangular area, this becomes the trigone. Now coming to the location of the urinary bladder. If you see here, there is a side view. So this is in case of the female. If you see here, there is the pubic symphysis. Behind that, this is the urinary bladder, and here is the uterus here. This is the uterus, and this is the vagina, and here is the rectum. Okay. So if you see here, the posterior, it is usually the urinary bladder is posterior to the pubic symphysis. What is pubic symphysis? The bone in front we have the pelvis. This is called as the pubic symphysis. Just behind that is the urinary bladder. But in case of male, there will be directly the rectum behind. But in case of the female, we have an additional organ, that is the uterus and the vagina. So in case of female, anterior wall of the vagina and below is the uterus. So if you see, in case of the female, posteriorly it will be having the uterus and the vagina. In case of male, it will be behind the rectum. So it will be anterior to the rectum. But in case of female, it will be anterior to the vagina and the rectum. So the bladder will be anterior to this part. Okay. So that is the difference between male and the female bladder. Now coming to the urethra. The urethra is the last part which will flow the urine outside the body. Okay. So the length of the female urethra is quite small. In case of the female, the urethra is very short, just 4 centimeters. But in male, it will be very long, almost 20 centimeters. Okay. Because in case of male, it will pass through the penis. So it will be very long. In case of the female, it is very short, just 4 centimeters. So the length of the female urethra is just 4 centimeters. It is opening between the clitoris and the vagina. Last time you had seen the clitoris and the vagina, in between is the opening of the urethra in case of female. But in case of the male, it is very long, almost 20 centimeters long. Tube passes through you have seen the prostate, Okay, and then it will pass through the urogenital diaphragm and the penis. So in case of male, it has three parts. In female, it is short and it is only one part. But in case of male, it has three parts. Now, if you see, what are the three parts of the male urethra? The part through which it will pass through. As soon as the urethra begins, you have seen in the previous sessions how the prostate will the urethra will pass through the prostate. So that is called as the prostatic urethra. Just above the prostate will be the bladder sitting, or just below the bladder will be the prostate, into which the urethra will open. So that is called as the prostatic urethra. Okay, if you see here, this is the difference between the male and the female. If you see, in case of the male, this is the urinary bladder. Just below that is this is the prostate. So this urethra is passing through the prostate. So this is called as the prostatic urethra. Then it passes through this membranous part. So it is called as membranous, very short part. Then it passes through the penis. So this is called as penile urethra. So it is very long. So that's why it becomes long tube in case of male. But in case of the female, if you see, the urinary bladder is there, just below that will be directly it opens into the in front of the vagina. Just in front of the vagina is the the urethra opening. Okay, so in case of female, it is very short, just 4 centimeters. But in case of male, it is very long. It has three parts: prostatic urethra, membranous urethra, and the penile urethra. So these are the three parts in case of the male: prostatic urethra, membranous urethra passing through the urogenital diaphragm, and spongy urethra, or it is also called as the penile urethra because it passes through the corpus spongiosum of the penis. So there are two sphincters. The urine cannot flow anytime, but because there are two sphincters which will close, always keep the urethra closed, and whenever it wants to pass urine, then it will open. So these sphincters are by the circular smooth muscles form the internal urethral sphincter, which is involuntary. Involuntary means not under our control. Then we have the urogenital diaphragm, which will form the external urethral sphincter. So there are two sphincters, internal urethral and external urethral. If you see this picture, so one is here, internal urethral sphincter, and the second is in the urogenital diaphragm. Here is the internal and external. Okay. So the internal will be involuntary, so not under our control. It will be automatic. But the outer one, urogenital diaphragm, then the external urethral orifice, the external urethral sphincter is voluntary, which is here. So this is voluntary, this is involuntary, not under our control. But the sphincter here, this is the voluntary under our control. It opens at the external urethral meatus. So it will open into the external urethral meatus. This is the meatus. Okay. So this is all about the urinary system and the kidneys. So if you have any doubts regarding this lecture, you can ask me. Any questions regarding the kidneys, urinary bladder, or urethra?
No, thank you, doctor. Thank you, doctor.
Okay.